So Warhammer is one of those hobbies that can last a lifetime, and of course, as everyone knows, you can't just have one army. Over the years, one army balloons into multiple, and you also might branch out into other games, because one is getting too expensive and is also going down the shitter due to balance issues and other questionable choices by the IP holder. But you know what really sucks about having multiple armies and or collections? Moving across country or multiple states with said armies and other collections. So let's talk about it. But welcome back everyone, it's me the Warhammer complainy guy, Reverend/Handy, destroy all wallets and maker of terrible financial decisions. And before you ask, yes, I'm making this video to talk about my recent experience moving all my crap across country. Again. And also because I need to make a video for my 2-week schedule and I didn't have time to make a long one. So now you get to vicariously live through me in this video as a cautionary tale as to why having so many armies and collections, while awesome, is also a detriment. And why you should think twice about getting that 6th army because a new edition is right around the corner and that new starter box is just too tempting. Saturnine Dreadnought, you will be mine! So a quick rundown of the armies I own: Dark Angels for 30k and 40k, Custodes, Skaven for Age of Sigmar, Imperial Knights, Warlord Titan, and an entire Adeptus Titanicus or Legion Imperialis army. Then add on what Legos I have left and a lifetime's worth of collecting model trains. So, what do you think is the worst part about moving? Well, it's packing of course, but you would think packing all of this stuff should be a breeze, especially if you have a Warhammer carrying case like... yeah, I'm not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. So, packing all of my stuff, especially my Warhammer stuff, was a massive pain. Most of the stuff that's painted though. You see, I have 2 dedicated carrying cases I use only for transporting copious amounts of miniatures for moving because I don't have a dedicated army carrying case. Please sponsor me. The main reason being, like I mentioned in some of my previous videos, for everyday use, a foam carrying case isn't a very good idea. Because over time, if your miniatures are not varnished well enough or at all, the repeated action of taking your miniatures in and out of the foam pockets can and will rub paint off the miniatures, and that's not a very fun time. Especially if you didn't write down the paint recipes like I totally did. But because I had no more room to transport some of my painted minis, I did what any other resourceful wargamer would do, make my own carrying case. So I made 2 iterations of this. The first one uses one of the extra plastic storage bins I had that I store all my painting supplies in, and unfortunately a lot of the painted minis didn't fit due to the drawers being too shallow, so throw out that idea. Although I did put some unpainted minis in 2 of the drawers. The middle drawer had most if not all of my large Skaven minis along with my Custodes jet bikes, and the lower drawer has all of my grab tanks in it. For the second iteration, I had to steal one of the sorting bins used to organize towels in the bathroom because time was running out and I needed to find something to transport my most prized miniatures besides my Warlord Titan. So in comes Warhammer Carrying Case version 2. And honestly, it got the job done, but unfortunately some of the minis broke in transport because it doesn't have a lid. What really sucked though was that I had the perfect carrying case just sitting in the garage this entire time, and I only just realized I had it when I was loading everything into the back of the truck the night before the move. So version 3 is going to use this cupcake container, which is great because it has 2 levels, one for infantry and the second for vehicles. And I'm 90% sure this is going to be my Custodes carrying case. Also, if you couldn't already tell, I made these using Duncan Rhodes' guide as a reference, so if you too want to make your own redneck carrying case, get some galvanized steel sheets. You can get these from any home improvement store, just look up galvanized steel step flashing. I got mine off of Lowe's.com for $12. These sheets are usually 8 by 12 inches, which is honestly good enough for this purpose. Although you might need to whack it with a hammer if it doesn't fit in your carrying case like the first 2. Just make sure you have a hard enough surface that won't break if you miss a hammer strike. And because I'm the self-proclaimed king of magnetization, for most, if not all Warhammer bases, glue some 6x2mm magnets to the bottoms of the bases. But congratulations, you now have your own Warhammer carrying case, which is much cheaper than other carrying cases, but results may vary on the protection and I am not responsible for anything that breaks. Then for all the unpainted stuff that wasn't Forge World, I just put them in plastic bags so I can keep track of all the small bits since I use sub-assemblies, and then I threw them into various Warhammer boxes since they're not painted, and if a part snaps off, it's not that much of an issue unless of course they're painted miniatures. For the Forge World stuff like my Custodes Dreadnoughts, same story, plastic bags, but much more carefully, and also fewer so they don't bump into each other. And because packing is hell and I don't know what stuff is in what boxes, I possibly need to buy another large base for my Telemon Dreadnought because I don't remember which box I packed it in. Yay. The Storm Eagle and Custodes dropship were placed in boxes that they just barely fit inside because I didn't have a large enough storage container, so boxes it is. Also, this is just a quick tip if you ever get takeout containers like this. These work great for transporting unpainted miniatures. I've kept a few of these over the years, which are also great for stripping miniatures and cleaning Forge World minis. But what if you don't have a carrying case large enough to fit some of your larger, chunkier models, say Knights or Warlord Titan? Well, this is where being a hoarder, collector of all your old Warhammer boxes comes into play. Sure, you could just throw them all away once you're done assembling all the minis in the box, but the art on a lot of the large edition boxes and holiday boxes are very nice. And also the boxes themselves are sturdy and are great to stack on top of each other for a few years in the closet. Well, if you have Imperial Knights or other large models, do I have good news for you. All of these boxes are just the right depth to fit any tank or Imperial Knight if you're crazy like me and magnetized every single one of your Imperial Knights. Hey, who's laughing now? I don't have to worry about them breaking in transport because I had the foresight to make them modular for easy transport. But the depth of all these boxes is deep enough to fit the Potato Knight, the Porphyrion, or the Asterius if you have one like I do. All you have to do is remove all the weapons, bubble wrap the torso and legs, and gently Tetris them into the boxes. And if you're insane like me and have almost every single Imperial Knight in existence, they should fit in 3 to 4 of these boxes depending on how good you are at Tetris. But that's how to transport a shitload of Imperial Knights. Now, what about the Grey One, aka the Warlord Titan? Well, before that, it's audience interaction time. So if you're enjoying the video, you can do your part by doing all the good YouTube stuff like subscribing to the channel, along with liking the video and leaving a comment for the almighty YouTube algorithm. Like how are you if you had to move across country packing your Warhammer collection or other collections? But I'm sure you're asking, viewer, that will probably never get a GW Warlord Titan because it costs $2,000. How do you transport a Warlord Titan if you don't have a Pelican case, because those also cost a lot of money, emphasis on a lot of money? Well, I'm glad you asked. The first thing you should have done when you built it though is magnetized everything so it's easier to transport. And then when you need to transport it, get a large bin like this and put pillows and blankets inside of it as padding. Also remember to keep those red boxes that came in, because if it isn't painted yet like mine, you can put all the armor panels and greeblies in the box, because my god are there a lot of parts in this kit. But for the most part, I've done this twice and thankfully nothing got damaged that couldn't just be glued back on. Just make sure this thing has nothing on top of it when it's being transported, and also it closes without any pressure on the model and you should be hunky-dory. Also, you won't have all the weapons and head options like me, so it won't be as packed or expensive. And because all my videos have to have some mention of model trains, from a model trains that was easy. All my N scale stuff went into the rolling case I used to transport them to my old N scale club, East Valley Lines. All the HON3 stuff was Tetrised into this box right here, and the O scale stuff was just packed away in the boxes they came in because that's how they're shipped across the ocean. Now, you would think with all this stuff being moved a long distance, I would be worried about all my Forge World stuff, but what I was really worried about was these f***ers right here, my display cases. I have 3 display cases, a Millsbow, Detolf, and Fabricor, all from IKEA. You see, one of these is 90% glass, and the others I would say are about 40 to 60% glass. And they also have glass shelves too, which all had to be packed like this. It also doesn't help that my floor in my new place is tile. If you've ever built a computer or have been in the PC Master Race subreddit, you would know why this is something to fear, because tile and tempered glass don't go too well together. It also doesn't help that apparently Detolfs are known to randomly explode at some point in the future. I learned this from Made Mint's post on Twitter and all the stories and the comments of similar things happening to other people's Detolfs, so it's only a matter of time before mine explodes. Also, the Detolf replacement sucks and is not that big. So here's hoping that my Detolf doesn't randomly explode and the hundreds of hours I spent painting some of my miniatures in the case don't come crashing down. But yeah, that's me complaining for however many minutes this video is about my recent move and why having so many collections is not always that great. So if you too have a large conglomerate of miniatures, be prepared for the hell that is packing. Anyways, thanks for watching the video, and a huge thank you to the GIGAist of the chads right here, the channel members and Twitch subscribers. So if you too want to be a Giga Chad and help fund these stupid adventures, consider becoming a member of either for access to the member section of the Discord and other things. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, but I have to go make more terrible financial decisions, so I'll see you all in the next video, and remember, when you play Warhammer, being poor is a choice.